Welcome to Sometimes There's Side Eye, a podcast about two friends having real and unfiltered conversations about dogs and people. Listen as we talk about our lives with dogs, training, behavior, share some laughs, and a whole lot of banter. I'm Heather.
And I'm Christy. What are we talking about this week, Heather?
We are just back from Westminster, so I think that's what we should talk about.
I agree.
And we both have colds, so please excuse how we sound.
We're a little stuffy.
Yeah, we came back from New York and the freezing conditions with
Yeah.
a sickness.
Yeah. Not surprising.
No, at least we're not there this week when it's like negative 200.
Yeah. Yeah. We walked to Westminster in 2 degrees a couple
Yeah,
days.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
fine.
But that was not the highlight or the point of our trip.
It sure wasn't. Oh my gosh, what a good time. It was so fun. What an experience.
What an experience.
So, once in a lifetime, well, maybe not once in a lifetime, but definitely a bucket list for me. I have never been, nor had anyone else who went with us. There were six of
Mhm.
us in total, five of us who stayed the whole time, and it was overload in the very best way.
Absolutely. Yes.
We flew into New York on Friday, and then Saturday we went to agility pretty much all day.
Mhm.
And that was awesome. And we'll talk more in detail about that. We'll just get through the schedule part. So that was for Saturday. Sunday was sightseeing. Monday, during the day, we walked to the Javits Center and watched the individual breed judging. So that was judging for every single breed that was entered in. And we'll talk more details about what that looked like. And then Monday night, we went to the Madison Square Garden for the group
Mhm.
judging, which is what everyone sees on television.
Right.
Then Tuesday, we went back to the Javits Center for more breed judging. And then Tuesday night, we went back to Madison Square Gardens and we got to watch the rest of the group judging and Best in Show, which again is what everyone saw on TV.
Mhm.
And I would imagine at this point, if you have any interest, you watched the Doberman win. So that was
Yeah.
super awesome. It was amazing. So, what was the experience like for you, Christy? I know agility was your favorite.
Yeah, agility was my favorite. I have watched agility since I was a kid. I don't know. As long as they've had it on TV, I've been watching it. And I'm so impressed with those athletes, both the
Oh,
the owners, the handlers, and the dogs, because they make it look so easy. And having tried agility for a year, I know it's not easy.
hmm.
And man, I thought, I think I can do it again. I know I can't. And I again thought, I think I should pick this back up.
Yeah. It is impressive to watch
Yes.
agility at that level. And it doesn't mean that teams that aren't at the top of the game, the fastest dogs can't go to Westminster Agility because we saw all levels and we were just as endeared by the
Yeah.
gray-faced Great Dane as we were the
Yeah.
ridiculously fast Border Collie. And I think that no matter the level that people were running at, we just being who we are, we're really looking at relationships between the dogs and the people. And there was so much good there, so much love there, so much
Mhm.
teamwork there. And
Yeah.
I don't know how you sit and watch a competition like that and not just have respect for the relationship that those people have with their dogs.
Mhm. Yeah. I agree. Absolutely.
It was super fun though to sit and watch a team get up to the start line and I'd be like, Christy, this is going to be a good one.
Mhm. Yeah. We did enjoy trying to pick out which ones are going to be the best and
Hmm.
fastest and all of that. And it was fun to watch the little dogs too.
Hmm.
It takes them a lot longer to get through that course.
Yes,
But man, they run their little hearts out with their little tiny legs. It's
I
very
know.
cute.
Everybody got to meet Trin's US Grammy named Jamie, who
Yes.
owns her dad and her brother. Her and her husband were there running their Boston Terrier. Her husband
Mhm.
actually is who runs Smidgen, and they took fourth in their height class, which was awesome. So that was super fun. There were several French Bulldogs. There were lots of All-American dogs like
Mhm.
Jackson, which AKC calls mixed breed All-American. We saw anything from Great Dane all the way down to Chihuahua.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it
did.
was
We saw
awesome.
a standard Chihuahua and a long-haired Chihuahua.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
was cool to see all the different varieties and
Mhm.
watch the people. Like if you're going to Westminster, like it's such an experience as a person that is sitting and watching, but as an exhibitor too, I think it's just something that's really special
Yeah.
and not everybody gets in.
Yeah,
It's a lottery.
exactly.
Yeah, so not everybody gets to run agility at Westminster just because you have a dog that's at that level.
Yeah. And I think I was the only person in the group that like sat there literally the whole day. Most of our group went off and got coffee or some food or went and met Monty, the winner of last year's Westminster, went to the vendor booth. So I just
Yep.
sat and watched all day.
Christine never moved. She was literally on hard metal bleachers all day.
Yeah, I went to the bathroom once and then but that was it. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, when they had to move the jumps up, I was like, this is my chance. I got to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah. It was really cool. I love also that you when it's an event like this, they flash the score, meaning the time. They
Mhm,
show if there's any fault. They show the dog's name, their breed. I love
mhm,
like seeing all the kind of parts of the whole thing and that you get at the end of every hike class, you know who was the fastest and
mhm,
you have on the screen the time to beat for each class. So as you're watching a
mhm,
dog run and you're seeing a team go super quick, at the anticipation at the end to see if they're going to beat the score, the fastest score is
mhm.
super fun. It was exhilarating. I really enjoyed
It
it.
was. Yeah, and videos really don't capture how loud the crowd gets and how into it the crowd is because people start realizing like, oh, this will be a close one. Like they could take the lead. And then people just start getting more and more excited about it. And the crowd gets louder and louder and really like an eruption of cheering, which I have to say, like, man, these dogs are so focused on their task to not be distracted by that.
Hmm.
The top level dogs. Obviously, there were there were several dogs who got up on the dog walk and like stared at the crowd for a while and was like,
Yeah, at the
"What you
A-frame
guys
on the A-frame
doing?"
too. Yep.
Yeah, at the A-frame. Yeah, like you guys cheering
What's
for
going
me?
on?
And of course, that made a lot of cheering too because it was
Yes.
very endearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, and I'm sure a lot of people who aren't kind of in the dog training agility community or didn't go to Westminster might not have seen chatter about it. I would say the only downside is they really need to figure out a better solution to the turf that the dogs are running
Hmm.
on because a lot of dogs, especially as they got into the 12 and more so in the 16-inch and up
Hmm.
class, they slid a lot. And
Hmm.
there was a hard turn at the beginning of the course, and it required like basically a 90 as they were coming over a jump going into the next obstacle, and there were a lot of dogs that slipped and fell. And
Yeah.
so we're seeing a lot of chatter. I'm seeing a lot of chatter about how do we do better by our dogs, and especially dogs competing at this level because their speed
Hmm.
and making sure that they don't get injuries. And I'm glad those
Yeah.
conversations are happening.
Me too. Because it was very disheartening to see you would see 5, 6, 7 dogs in a row
Yeah.
slip and hit hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, that's not fun to watch. Like
Yeah.
that hurts your heart a little bit
Yeah.
each time.
And the course that they were running is a standard course, which essentially has all the different types of obstacles on it. And then you're following one, two, three, four, five, everything's named. So everyone's
Mhm.
doing the same course. You just might do different crosses and whatnot, depending on your dog. So the obstacles are all the same. And then the sequence in which you do them. And so we did see a lot of dogs And I think too, it depended on how the dogs were built, like what their body was like, in addition to their size. The low to the ground, more nimble border collies that are built more like a string bean were having an easier time in a lot of cases. Well,
I saw a lot of
we
them
saw,
flip or
that's
slip.
true. We did see a lot of them
Yeah.
slip. I guess
Because I
it
think
really was
because
the
they're
small
going
dogs that were
so
doing
fast.
better. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. And they were anticipating that turn as they were coming over
Mhm.
the jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough. So I'm glad to see a lot of chatter and a lot of people saying this needs to be fixed. This does not
Hmm.
work. That was the only thing that I would say on Saturday that I was like, ugh. Everything
Yeah.
else was fantastic. Oh, and I was a little disappointed there were no English bulldogs this year. There are usually
Yeah.
at least one or two English bulldogs at Westminster to do agility. A friend of mine has a dog that just retired and another dog who's young who isn't quite to the level she needs to be. So I think she'll be there
Mhm.
next year if she gets in. But that was the only breed that I was like, oh, bummer, because there's
Yeah,
usually several English bulldogs that are running.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, sightseeing, who
Mhm.
cares? We're not talking about it.
Yeah.
Sunday was sightseeing. Monday. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. It was a fully immersive experience.
Hmm.
There are breeds everywhere. There are
Hmm.
10 rings,
Yeah.
and then there's a full area where all the dogs are in benching areas. So basically, like you have your little area where you can put your little crate and your setup and whatever. So there's like two
It's like your
massive
prep
rooms.
area.
Yeah, it's your prep area. Thank you. So there's two massive rooms. One that's all the rings and everybody in breed competition. And then there's this massive room with everybody in their prep areas. It was
Mhm.
just so much.
And you, as a spectator, are allowed to go in the prep area, the
Oh,
benching
yeah.
area.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was like, that must be off limits, obviously, right?
You
No, you
missed.
can just wander back there.
Okay, so it's called a bench show.
Uh-huh.
So if you are ever looking at a dog show and you see that it's a bench show, that means that you're allowed to go into the benching area, aka the prep area. So you must have missed the part of the conversation that I had with our friend Jillian because she did ask, what's a bench show?
Oh, I didn't miss that.
Yeah, so the only thing I would say is if you ever go to a dog show and it's a bench show, which some of the Phoenix, I forget which Phoenix show, but one of them is a bench show. Just be respectful if people are
Of
prepping to go
course.
in the ring. Other than that, people are generally very friendly. You can walk up,
So
you can
friendly.
ask to meet their dogs, you can ask about the breeds. It's an awesome way to learn about breeds, to meet ethical breeders,
Mhm.
assumed ethical breeders because we're
Yeah.
at Westminster. This is the cream of the crop here. And it's a great way to kind of have conversations. I learn like what like to live with all these different dogs. So
Yeah.
bench shows are fun.
Yeah. I was so impressed with how kind people were, the
Mm,
exhibitors were, that they were happy for me to ask to take photos of their dogs. One of the guys stood and talked to us for a while about his English bulldog and what he was, his traveling
yeah.
and her health and different things. Other people, I just feel like everyone was so kind. There was one person who like ignored me and pretended I didn't
Yeah.
exist when I asked to take a picture. And I was like, maybe they didn't hear me. And I said it again, like, do you mind if I take a picture? And she like physically turned her back towards me. And I was like, oh, okay. But like for the most part, and I wasn't even offended. I was like, you're probably done with people at this point.
Yeah.
That's fine. But for the most part, people are just so kind and excited to tell you about the
Yeah.
breed they love too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was so fun to see the dogs that you were curious and like wanted to take pictures of. I found
Mhm.
that fascinating. Who
Mm.
you were like, "Oh, let me go over here." And like, "Oh, let me go over here." And so it was just interesting to like experience it with you alongside being at I mean, I was like, even myself, like, holy cow. But to kind of see it through other people's eyes, like yours, that doesn't frequent dog shows, and then to
Mhm.
be in an environment like this. And just to give you all an idea, I think one of the highest numbers of entries was probably French Bulldogs. That was 48 French Bulldogs entered. There were Golden Retrievers was 50 something. We didn't watch the
Mhm.
Goldens, but it was 50 something. And then like on the other end of the spectrum, there were I think 12 Brussels Griffon, there were 21 pugs, there were 21 Rottweilers. So there are a lot of
Mhm.
different breeds there, and we never did get clear information on how many dogs of each breed are allowed to be entered. It seems to me that it is in relation to their overall registry numbers with
Mhm.
AKC, because breeds that are super popular had bigger numbers and then rarer breeds had smaller numbers, but I don't have like 100% clarity on that. But we saw all kinds. Christy got to see a Skye Terrier. She got
I
to
think that's my new favorite.
You
Like,
like them.
I
I like them
really like
too.
them. I like
Um,
them.
we met an adorable Sussex Spaniel, which was
Mhm.
the only dog that I mislabeled the entire time I was there and was so embarrassed.
What did you call
And
it?
I called it a Clumber Spaniel, which is absolutely wrong. And I
Yeah.
realized it after I walked away. And the junior handler was so kind, never
So kind.
corrected me, let me like meet her dog, say hello, everything, rave about her adorable dog, and then never even said, like, oh, by the way, it's actually not a Clumber, you dumbass.
Well, the best part is Heather says, "Wow, I don't think I've ever seen a clumber in brown.
Literally.
I've never seen this because it's not a clumber."
Because they don't actually, I didn't look it up, but they can't, they must come. It's a Sussex only in the brown. I'm
Yeah.
going to look right now so I cannot sound
But
like an
those
idiot.
that was a great breed too. I like that breed.
The Clumbers or the Sussex?
The Sussex. I don't think
Yeah,
we
I like
personally
them
met the
too.
clumber.
Yeah, no, Clumbers definitely don't come in brown. Yeah, like of course I had my breeds that I wanted to watch. But it was also really cool just to kind of walk around and experience
Mhm.
all the different breeds walking around
Yes.
with their owners and seeing people kind of experience it. Some had been there before, some it's an old hat, professional handlers do this all the
Mhm.
time. Then you see owner handlers, you see people crying, they're so excited. I mean, it is just like a whole range of emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like a toddler
Oh,
going
tell
to
me
the show
more.
because I definitely was. I was like, I hope Heather is not annoyed, which she said she enjoyed going with me. So,
Why would
well,
I be annoyed?
because I literally was like, what's that? What's that? What are they doing there? Who's that? What are they doing? What am I doing? What are you doing? What's this? What's this? How do they do that? Why do they do that? What's happening there?
Love
Oh, look
it.
over there.
Love it.
Like
I
the
love it.
whole time. How did they score that? What about that dog's legs? Why are they stacking like that? Is that person important? No? Okay. What about that person? What about that person?
You
I
were like a toddler. It did not feel that way to me though. And of course,
okay.
like I have the heart of an educator. I love to
Yeah.
teach people and like I'm so passionate about it. It didn't bother me at all. I loved that everyone was asking me questions. And I there were times where I was like, I've never been to Westminster, so I don't really know what they're doing or how they do it. It never occurred to me that the only dogs that get to come to Westminster are already champions. I mean,
Mhm.
it makes sense now, but
Mhm.
beforehand, I hadn't given that any thought. So they have to have like a certain level of show
Sure.
wins at that point to kind of like make it simple to be able to even enter. So that was really interesting. The I don't know that anyone listening cares, but if you do and you ever want to watch next year, you can actually watch the breed judging on, I think it's FS1 this year on AKC TV. You can watch all the individual breed judging. They just don't have it on regular TV. So,
Yeah.
like, I usually watch the Rottweilers every year, but seeing it in person is just, oh my gosh. Of
Yeah.
course, for me, the highlight on Monday was the pug, and the highlight on Tuesday was the Rottweiler. So, a friend of mine owns the sire of the pug who won, and
That was fun.
he's the first black pug to ever win Best of Breed at Westminster. So that's like pug history. I mean, that's
Mhm.
just unbelievable. And then the woman who co-bred that dog was also there. So I got to meet her for the first time. And that dog's owner handler. So like that's really special that you're the owner and you also have like made history. And then that dog ended up getting third place in the toy group. So that was like just unbelievable. I mean, I can't believe I didn't lose my voice. It's no wonder that we sound like we do.
Right. Yeah,
We were
that's true.
screaming so loud.
We screamed a lot.
We
And
did.
I honestly didn't realize show people were so rowdy.
Oh, we're
I
a rowdy
feel like,
bunch.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the Waste Management Open for golf. Like I
Oh,
felt like that's kind of Westminster. People get
yeah.
rowdy, like they are cheering, they are going crazy for their dog. I was like, "Oh, is that allowed? Okay, I'm getting into it
Yeah.
then. I'm gonna
I
scream too."
I text my friend who was in Montana and I said, Shirley, we're about to get rowdy. Like it's about to get crazy up in here. And she was like, you scream, you just scream. And she told me she could hear us on the live stream watching the pugs because we were so loud. And I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all.
No, not at all. So that was like a really, really incredible moment,
Mhm,
really special for me to watch that with for my friend in person
mhm,
who couldn't be there in person. And Rip, the little pug, he's such a little stinker. And I got to meet his dad in June in Montana. So
mhm.
that was kind of full circle. So that was really cool.
Yeah. I walked away with there's such a variety of dogs, like
Yes.
more than you can imagine, more than you've ever heard about, more than you would recognize.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many breeds I was like, "Oh, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that," or "I've never seen that in person." And one thing that struck me, yes, some of those more popular breeds are filling the shelter, but a lot of these dogs are not filling the shelters.
Oh, that's such an interesting observation. I just looked, there's 205 different breeds in the AKC right now. Just, I had to look it up. I was curious.
Yeah.
That is such an interesting observation that I had not thought about. That's just like something I inherently feel.
Mhm.
So oh, wow. I love that.
Yes, I mean, even the golden retrievers who had 50 dogs, right? We're not that's probably the largest. I don't know for sure, but that seemed like the
It was
largest
one of
group.
the largest for sure.
And we're not overrun with golden retrievers. So I don't know exactly where, like, I don't know where that leaves me feeling, with breeds,
Well,
but
you have to remember too that purebred dogs and their breeds, let's use golden retrievers, they're supported by the National Club and
mhm,
their rescue efforts are supported by the National Club. So you have purebred dog rescue. And so a lot of times, most times, if it's a well supported all purebred dog rescue and breed, then they are able to, when a golden retriever comes into the shelter, immediately take them out and
mhm,
put them through their rescue program, right? So
mhm,
you're not seeing a lot of them, most likely because they're being supported by private rescue groups. Also, from a behavior standpoint and a breeding standpoint, like a golden is, like it's going to be a lot harder to mess up a golden
mhm.
retriever than it's going to
Yeah,
be to mess up a Rottweiler. So
true.
most
Yeah,
people that get a golden retriever probably aren't going to give it up unless there's extreme
yeah,
circumstances. So that's a part of it too.
yeah, that's true. But I do think about, let's say, not to pick on Dalmatians, but they're a harder breed.
Yeah.
And we're not overrun with Dalmatians either, you know?
Well, wait until 101 Dalmatians comes
That's
back to
true, that's
popularity,
true,
right? So,
that's true.
like, there are cycles about that too. Remember when Game of Thrones came out and we're like, oh, great, all the Huskies and Akitas and like all those, breeds are going to be in the shelters. And they were.
Yeah,
But Dalmatians are a rarer breed. I
yeah,
mean,
and I do
rarer
think
than a golden retriever.
yeah, and I did have a conversation with, one of the girls at Barn Hunt on Sunday saying, "I've been very reluctant to foster recently because of the economy," and, right or wrong, it's hard to foster when the economy is hard
Mm,
because you get stuck with your foster for
hmm
so long. And my heart just can't take having a dog for 9 months and then giving it up. And I'm not prepared to have a second dog in
Yep.
my life full time, financially or time-wise or anything. But I did say, I'm going to guess Dobermans are probably going to be more popular now. So it does make me think, well, maybe I could foster for the Doberman rescue because those will probably start moving a little faster through rescue.
Yeah, and then I see, my purebred enthusiast friends who are like, hold the phone. Like,
Yes,
please don't everyone run out and go get a Doberman.
right.
And let's think about everything that goes into Penny. And that was the Doberman that won, gorgeous. Everything that's behind her that got her
Mhm.
to where she is today. It's tough. You want your breed to win, you want your dog to win, but then you're like, wait, don't everybody run out and go get them. I'm sure if we
Yeah.
ask Christy Cole of Desert Harbor how she's feeling, she probably has, her heart split in two about it as well. Yeah, it's hard. I
Yeah.
People who are purebred dog enthusiasts and breeders and like hobby people, the last thing they want is for their breed to be the most registered breed in the AKC.
Mhm.
Like when Rottweilers go up and
Mhm.
become more popular, my heart sinks.
Mhm.
When people say, "Oh, French bulldogs are the most popular dog," I'm like, that is not a
Mhm.
good thing. Like
Mhm.
it's tough because you want people to know your breed and love them, but you don't want unprepared people to
Yes.
just go and willy-nilly buy a dog.
Which what's interesting to me is like the giant schnauzer won last year.
Yes.
I don't feel like there was a surge of giant schnauzers. I'm not in that. Maybe there was, but I didn't feel that. I didn't. No one I know is like, oh, I'm on the hunt for a giant schnauzer now, or friends of friends, you know?
But it's a rarer breed.
It is a
Dobermans
rare
are
breed.
backyard bred. We
Yes,
were,
I get, yes, absolutely.
yeah. So Jillian and I were talking to a breeder of a Kerry Blue Terrier. It's a rare breed.
Yeah.
I never met one. And I said, oh, well, when we're walking around, if we see someone, we should stop and talk to them. And sure enough, that happened. And we talked to the woman, and she had relayed that there are 5 Kerry Blue Terrier breeders in the US. Now,
Mm.
I did not fact check her, but she's been in the breed
I'm
for a
gonna guess
really
she
long
knows.
time, and I must
Yeah.
say she's pretty accurate. And if there's only 5, do you think that there's a lot of backyard breeding of Kerry Blue Terriers going on? And
Right.
probably not. So that's
Yeah.
why you're not seeing an explosion of giant schnauzers just because
Right.
Monty won last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all sort of relative at the same
Mhm.
time.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I think too, there's the whole guardian breed. Like there's always a really popular breed that happens. Like in the 70s, it was the German Shepherd. In the 80s, it was the Doberman. The 90s, it was the Rottweiler. Then in the 2000s, it was the Pit Bull. Like this is like a whole
Mhm.
trend. I think right now it feels like it's going to the Cane Corso. So
Yeah.
this happens,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So I also think when that happens, then there's like this macho thing that happens and this thing
Mhm.
that happens where people are like, oh, I want that. And I think that also lends to the huge uptick in backyard breeding.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree. I feel like if you are like, ooh, the Doberman is like a macho dog, you should probably get to know some Dobermans because they are
So true.
so goofy and so funny. And I get like their breed standard is to be fearless and be a protector, but also with a huge dose of goofiness,
Yes.
the
Yes.
goofiest goofiness.
Christy now understands finally, after seeing so many Dobermans at Barn Hunt, why before she fostered Jackson, I was like, maybe you should consider a Doberman because them just playing goofballs most of the
They're
time.
so funny. Like
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the breed at this
yeah.
point.
I mean, they're still a working breed. They still
Sure.
have a working edge, but like, I mean, I have a Rottweiler who's kind of a goofball too.
Yeah,
So,
he is.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Something that I thought about while we were at the show was a lot of people in the rescue world, and myself included, before I met you, before I learned about the show world, ethical breeding, a lot of people will say, well, couldn't we only breed the winners? Can't we only
Oh.
like breed winners of the Westminster? Like, yes, of course, it's fine to breed the winner of Westminster. However, I'd like to point out that the Doberman won 37 years ago and this year.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we going to breed that Doberman to? There's only
Mm-hmm.
one winner in 37 years that has been, or this Doberman. So there's no other Doberman to breed it to if you're only breeding the winner.
Yeah,
And
there's
so it just
also,
logically doesn't make sense. I see why people say that,
yeah,
but also my other thought behind that was I do feel like, of course, this is the cream of the crop. However, I had this other thought. Don't come
yeah,
at me, show people. Westminster does not account for health issues.
yeah,
It only accounts for structure.
yes,
So Penny may be perfectly structured. She is so beautiful. So
yeah.
she probably is perfect in her structure, but we don't know if she has heart disease. We don't know if she has allergies. We don't know if she has hip dysplasia. We would hope that she was ethically bred to test for those things. But at the end of the day, Westminster is only judging on structure.
Yes. So, okay. First, we can't only breed the winners also because that backs you into a genetic corner and you
Yes,
need
of
genetic
course.
diversity to have health. I didn't want to just
Of
like let
course.
that lay there.
Oh, yes.
Um,
Okay. Yes.
and I completely agree with you. Just because a dog is shown at Westminster does not mean that they have passed their health testing. That is true. I agree with you.
I didn't know
Um,
that until recently. I just assumed every dog that was at that level would be required to pass some sort of health testing, which is not the case.
what I want to say is this, is that shows are they are a piece of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So just because someone wins, I mean, okay, we'll use Tiago as an example, right? Just because Tiago has his championship doesn't mean that he passed all his health testing. He didn't.
Mhm. Yeah.
Tiago was being evaluated to see if he was breeding stock when it comes to structure and movement. And he was until he we knew that he had elbow dysplasia. Well, as soon as I found out he had elbow dysplasia, that he's no longer breeding stock, so I stopped showing him.
Mhm.
So, like, the things go hand in hand. And so, the last thing I want someone to do is to say, oh, look at this dog. That dog won Westminster, so clearly they're perfect breeding stock, and off we go. That is
Mhm.
a piece of it. An ethical breeder, there are so many elements that go into it. There's the show side of it, there's the health testing, there's the temperament. Because listen, I'm gonna pick on Penny because she just won.
Sure.
She could just be a really, really well-trained dog. She could have a shit
Mhm.
temperament. All of that
Yeah.
has to be evaluated. That is all parts of the puzzle. So I think that I totally agree with your point. In my perfect world, I wish that health testing and show dogs were like connected somehow.
Mhm.
Because actually, the usually if it's a breed I'm interested in, the first thing I do when I see one who won Westminster is actually look them up. I did
Mm.
it when the French Bulldog won a few years ago. First thing I did was look him up on LFA because I was curious.
Mhm. Yeah.
I wish it was connected in some way, and that's where it's hard because like that's where the ethics come into it.
Mhm.
you have to know what to look for. You
Mhm.
have to know all the different parts and pieces, and people
Right.
need to like stand on their ethics and like do things the way that they should be done.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a piece of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
holy hell, it's an honor. Like
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes.
it is such an honor. And I the Afghan Hound,
Oh
because
yeah.
if you watched Monday night, his outfit and that
Oh,
Afghan Hound were
yes.
on point. It was
Oh man.
so beautiful.
Yeah. We were all pretty surprised that the Afghan didn't win or get on.
I thought it would get reserve
Yeah.
best in show.
Yeah.
I think that Penny deserved it. She was gorgeous.
Yeah.
She nailed it. She did every
She
single
really
thing her
did.
handler asked her to do. It was quite the moment, but
Mhm.
I was surprised. I think that the Afghan really showed up, but at the last minute, that Chesapeake Bay Retriever, man, he was like, I am here for it. And
Yeah.
not just the Doberman people, I saw the Chessie people saying, don't run out and get a Chesapeake Bay Retriever. Like they are
Yes.
serious, serious working
They're serious
dogs.
dogs. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's easy to not have people run out and be like, I want an Afghan hound because like they're
Yeah.
a lot of work and they're
Yeah.
rare. So you're gonna get really vetted if you're trying to get
Mhm.
that. But yeah, we don't want people running out and being like, let me go get a Chesapeake Bay Retriever because that's a serious, serious
Mhm.
retrieving
Or a
dog.
Doberman.
Or a
Yeah.
Doberman.
Without
Yeah, of
researching.
course. Or a
Yeah.
pug. I mean, any of it.
Yeah, any of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, without doing your research, knowing that it's the
Yeah.
right breed for you. I did mention to Heather while we were there the amount of things dogs have to go through to be at
Oh, let's talk about
Westminster.
that.
It was it's a lot. Like there's loud crowds, there's travel, there's strangers handling them. They're in a ring with potentially dozens of other dogs that they don't know. They're in loud prepping stations with
Mhm.
people walking by, with blow dryers, with brushing, with all the things. I feel like Jackson is such a solid dog. I don't think he could handle all that. That's a lot.
And what did I say to you? I only own one dog that could handle this environment, and that
Mhm.
is Tiago. And that is not a
Yeah.
slight on any of my dogs. What people are asking of their dogs, keep in mind too that you have people from across the country, also some
Mhm.
people in other countries who are coming
Yes.
to Westminster. These dogs, if they can't be, well, they couldn't be flown because there was an embargo because it was too cold. But people were getting dogs there all different ways, right?
Mhm.
And so the dogs are traveling, like Christy said. Well, what if you live in the middle of Kansas and your dog never experiences a city like New York City?
Oh,
And
yeah.
now, just the city alone
Yeah.
is a massive. They've never seen snow. They've never had to go to the bathroom with no yard. They've never experienced cabs like honking their horn every turn. Large buses.
Mhm.
I mean, it is mind-boggling to think about
Mhm.
how much they have to experience. But
Mhm.
on the flip side, let's talk about our little pit bull friend from Central Park.
Oh my gosh, we loved her. So on our free day, we went to Central Park and we met dogs in Central Park.
What else
That
would we do?
that wasn't the goal, but it definitely
It
became the
happened.
goal as soon as
Yeah.
we realized it was an option. And we found a little pity
Mhm.
mix, and she was awesome. We
Yeah.
loved her.
She was from down south. The people adopted her pretty much sight unseen, it seemed, as he told the story. And she was brought up through a rescue organization and they adopted her as a young dog. And she was like, I mean, if they could not have dreamt a better six people for this dog to run into because we saw her and we were like, oh my God. And we're petting her. We, of course, got her all riled up and amped up, but she was adorable. But don't you think it's interesting that that dog is doing great and
Mhm.
she's living in the city? So then that
Mhm.
makes me think, okay, well, are all these dogs who are doing well in the city who just were raised in the city and they just know what to do? The whole
Mhm.
nature nurture thing, you know?
Yeah, I don't
It's a
know.
lot. The
I
city is
the
a
city
lot.
city dogs were city dogs are so different. We are in suburban
Yeah.
areas, Heather and I. So our dogs have parks to walk to.
Uh-huh.
We keep dogs on leash. We would get mad if dogs were off leash. That's a whole thing in our areas. The Central Park, the dogs were off leash. We're not even sure if we were in an off leash area,
No
but
idea.
dogs were definitely off leash. And
Majority were off leash.
and owners were not checking on them. They weren't micromanaging these dogs. Dogs were around the corner getting their ball. They were not, we here micromanage our dogs
Yep.
and so specifically. It was just a very different feel. And dogs were not approaching each other like every dog was a play group. They
Yeah.
were greeting and moving on, greeting and moving on,
Yeah.
unless there was an invitation for play. But
Yeah.
most of them were just greeting and moving on. And I would say it's as different from suburban dogs and city dogs as country dogs
Yes.
and city dogs. Like it's such different requirements and living.
Yeah. Yeah. It was quite the experience. I
Yeah.
mean, to go from everything that we were asking dogs to like be a part of and be at the showgrounds and all this different stuff and fly and blah blah blah. And then we go to Central Park and these dogs are like off leash with like reckless abandon. And clearly
Mhm.
this was their normal Sunday. This
Yeah.
was, not a dog who had flown in just for the show and was there. These were dogs
Yeah.
who this is what we do. And they're totally cool with it, and
Mhm.
everything was great. There was
Mhm.
something really freeing about seeing all of those dogs in Central Park and just kind of like
Yeah.
going about their business dogging.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the big question.
Yes.
Would you go again?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, it was so fun. I would say I would encourage everyone, if you have the chance to go, go. Like, I
Really?
would do it a little differently.
Okay.
I think I would go to more,
Yeah.
uh, breed, judging, just
Okay.
because maybe dogs I don't even know or haven't seen before, just to be able to look at them,
Hmm.
just to see how they do or, some of those things. And I would definitely make sure I got, tickets to the agility finals. That was something that
100%.
we all agreed on. Yeah, but I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was so fun. I
Oh, that's
loved it.
very interesting. I was curious
Yeah.
because it's when we sat and figured out how much it actually costs to do the whole vacation, it
Mhm.
was, I mean, it was a decent amount of
Mhm.
money. And I, of course, was going for a very specific reason. Most of the other people had not been to New York City, so there were other things to see. For me, it was all about the dog show. And so I was curious, like, how if you would be like, yeah, I would definitely do it again. I think
Mhm.
that would be really cool for you to sort of look at the breeds and be like, this is what I want to go and see, because you were
Yeah.
more so going along with what we wanted to see. Like,
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
wrong, or indifferent. It was just, hey, I'm gonna watch pugs, I'm gonna watch Rottweilers, I'm gonna watch this, I'm gonna watch that.
And I
And
was
then
like,
we
"Cool,
had
me
our
too."
terrier people, our Great Dane person. Yeah, so you didn't see a lot of the variety. That would be
Mhm.
really cool. And you saw, who did you see? The guy who takes pictures,
Oh, the doggist?
oh
We saw the doggist,
yeah, we saw
and
the
we
doggist.
saw my boy Rudder.
Yeah. So we saw two different like Instagram personalities
Yeah,
while we were there. So I was like, that was very interesting too.
yeah,
Well, I love that. I love that you would like want to do it again. I definitely hope that I get to go again. The
yeah,
company
same.
definitely added to it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So fun. Now, I would also say one thing that was maybe a little different in my experience than your guys' experience was everybody that I went with had a purebred dog except me. So when we were at events, people would kind of start talking to each other, the row in front, the row behind, blah, blah, blah. And they would say, "Oh, what kind of dogs do you have?" And so then everyone would say their breed. And then they'd point to me and they go, "And she has a mutt."
I don't think I ever called Jackson a mutt.
Maybe it was Cupido. I don't know.
I don't think I did.
No, probably not you. Or they would say, oh, she has a rescue or she has a mixed
Yeah.
breed,
I think I
Uh,
probably said she has an adopted dog. That
yeah,
feels like
yeah.
what I would normally say.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one time they did say mutt, like, but it was lighthearted. I
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
offended,
not a
like, by any
derogatory
yeah,
way.
no.
Yeah, we all love
Um,
Jackson.
but it was kind of funny to see people's reactions because a lot of times they go, "Oh."
Like you're very out of place. Well, I mean, it is kind
Which
of odd.
I Oh, it is. But I told Heather I was going to tell people he was a sport mix because that's very popular right now to have a sport mix dog. And
I
people seem
mean,
to understand that. He wasn't purposely bred for sports.
no.
He's just sporty and a mixed breed. But even with that, I saw all these amazing, cool dogs. And really, when I was flying home, I was like, and yet I still get to go home to the very best boy.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That
And I
is
just felt
amazing.
that in my heart so much.
You know what else I took away of all the people we saw and
Mhm.
all the people handling dogs and all the time that we spent watching people, because Christy and I watch people.
Yes, we do.
I saw only one person being mean to their dog.
Yeah.
One. And it was egregious, and I was pissed about it.
Yeah. We
But
were very uncomfortable with
yeah,
it.
but that was the only person out of
Mhm.
everybody I saw there that I felt was not fair to their dog. And that's
Mhm.
quite a statement.
That is. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I feel like we were trying to wrap up, but I have another point.
What do you got?
There you think of show dogs as these like perfectly behaved specimens. I do. I think they're like of this
I'm making
there's
a
a lot of
face.
training. What was
There's a
that?
lot of training. I said I'm making a face, everyone.
Yes, she's making a face. There's a lot of training that goes into it.
Yeah.
And so they're a different level than your average house dog, or you think so. You think about that. So I do picture show dogs as these like well manicured, well behaved dogs. Okay, they're just dogs.
They
Like
are.
at the end of the day, they're
Yeah.
dogs. And sometimes dogs are naughty and sometimes dogs are well behaved. But
Yeah.
there were a lot of naughty dogs at
Yeah.
Westminster. And I loved seeing handlers or owner handlers who, when the dogs got a little rambunctious, got a little squirrely, they would smile down at their dog
Yep.
or they would giggle
Yep.
or they would kiss their dog and like reposition them
Yep.
or sometimes they even like encourage them like, hey,
Yep.
yeah, jump in the box, jump out of the
Yep.
box, jump in the box, jump out of the
Mhm.
box. Okay, did we get some of that energy out? Now
Yeah.
let's try something else. I loved watching the interactions
Yeah.
when dogs were not pristinely perfect.
Yeah. We were watching Rottweilers, and there were people there that are Rottweiler breeders, and they bred one of the dogs that we were watching, and that dog is owner handled. And I had never met his owner, but I have met his breeders before. And so we were sitting and I was saying to his breeder, like, hey, we can get really rowdy if you want us to yell, we're gonna like really scream for him. And she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And
She had no idea what she
the
was getting
owner
into.
the owner is already in the ring, so she has no idea there are now 5 people who are going to scream bloody murder for her and her dog.
Mhm.
And so she starts to go around the ring, and we just erupt. And she told me afterwards, I went up, I met her, and I said, oh, we were screaming for you. And she said, when I started to go around the ring and everyone started screaming so loud, I had to pause for a moment. And she goes, it got me choked up and I had to like
Oh,
collect myself.
oh.
And I said to her, well, I just want to tell you that it was really amazing to watch you and your dog be together in the ring because you
Mhm,
clearly love each other so, so, so deeply. I
mhm.
mean, there's no question that woman's relationship with Jack is that of me and
Oh,
Tiago. There's no
the
question.
way the way he
Oh,
looked at her was
oh,
just Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And she got emotional. You know, that meant so
Mm.
much to her.
Yeah.
And I really do think that that is most of the people. And I thought, thinking about it now, I'm like, well, that is most of us dog lovers. The
Mhm.
majority of us are just loving our dogs and loving the
Right.
relationship with our dogs. Yeah, there's a bad egg here and there, people who are
Sure.
uneducated or lose their temper. I lose my
Mhm.
temper. I'm not always my
Mhm.
best, but that really is it, you know? The
Mhm.
relationship, whether it's purebred, whether it's a shelter dog, whether
Mhm.
it's a dog you got as a puppy or a dog you got that was 11, that relationship, like it doesn't matter. That is what it all comes down to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was really cool
absolutely.
to kind of see her emotional response to that.
Yeah. I just wanted people to know, like, these are just real dogs
Yeah.
with people who really love them.
Yeah. And I will extend the offer again. If you're in Phoenix and you want to go to a dog show and learn or see it, have me teach you, come on
Mhm.
along. I will take you and teach you all the things and answer all your questions.
And I will say Heather is a very patient teacher. You can ask all the questions and she doesn't even get annoyed.
Nope, not at all. I love sharing it.
Yes.
Well, that was our Westminster experience. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope some of you watched it.
Yes, absolutely. If you've enjoyed this episode, subscribe, rate, and share us wherever you get your podcasts. Also, come on over to Instagram and engage with us at Sometimes There's Side Eye.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.